Was also getting more education that made me ask more of our politicians. And this is specifically with regards to science, with regards to data and evidence, and with regards to history. When I learned more about science, which is just the study of progressing our understanding of the world, I saw that when a new belief came up that said this old thing we used to think is actually wrong, or the system or policy we have in place actually isn't working as intended. And I saw that it would just start testing that. It says, wow, okay, interesting. Does this hold up if we evaluate it in a bunch of different ways? And as it continues to hold up, the science just updates. And so it was watching how effective and efficient science can be at updating our understanding and watching how ineffective and inefficient our politics are at updating things. That made me hate politics. Politics is all like, well, we got to think about how we're going to fund that. How am I going to keep my role as a senator or a congressperson if I just fix all the problems instead of telling people that they need to pick me so that I can fix their problems without actually fixing them? The relationship between science and politics is interesting. And not even that science itself is political. Again, I think at its core, science is just improving our understanding of the world around us. Science has to have funding, and funding is probably going to come by what people consider to be an important issue at the moment, and that can be influenced by politics. Absolutely. The implications of scientific results can and should influence politics. But to say that science is biased towards the left, science is improving our understanding of the world, specifically by doing our best to eliminate bias. No, it's not automatically biased towards the left. The reason that you think that is because leftists tend to base their ideologies in the science and in the data. The problem comes about when you get conservatives who normalize being against science because it doesn't support their political view. They have normalized denying evidence, denying statistics and data because they don't like what it's telling them. Oh, I just don't believe in science. That's just my political view. We need to stop allowing political views to exist that are not based in reality. What if I told you my political view was that 2 plus 2 is 5? You'd be like, well, that's just wrong. Why do you believe that? That's how I feel when conservatives say climate change is a hoax, or that gender is anything but a social construct, or that trans people are mentally ill. All those things are not backed in science. They're not backed in reality, right? They're not backed in understanding of the world, which is what science gives us. And the second part of this is the data and the statistics. Statistics is the act of understanding the correlations between things using representative sample sizes of the population you're trying to understand. And there's statistical correlations. You don't just plot two things next to each other and you say, oh, look, they correlate, therefore one causes the other. You need to do other steps and have other discussions in order to be able to do that. The statistics and the data and the evidence are what science is based in. As I stated earlier, science is about improving our understanding of the world around us, which is done through progress. And so when I say, oh, look, the data says that, Black people are disproportionately affected by climate change, and so we should do something to address that, and as well as all the other systemic inequalities, I get called a crazy radicalist Marxist progressive. Being progressive means that you're pro-progress as well. So it's like a chicken or egg thing, right? Not changing things and not updating things is a core belief of conservative ideologies. I was raised to believe that people can be good if you give them the opportunity and the space to do so. But our politics tell us that people are bad, and so we have to oppress them. People are going to do crimes. People are going to be terrorists. People are going to be lazy sacks of shit who leech on the government. And it was when I realized that the data supports my beliefs that people aren't automatically innately bad, and that it's a system and conditions that drive people to be bad, that I started realizing that that was a political belief. When people are in harsh economic conditions, and when you keep our necessities behind the barrier of money, people are more desperate. They're going to commit crimes because they have to get by. They're going to steal money because it is very difficult to get out of poverty by playing by the rules that America set up. Whereas if the rules were set up in such a way that it was very easy, if not guaranteed, that you had your basic necessities met, you wouldn't be committing crimes as much. This whole laziness thing, I mean, in places where they've done studies to try UBI, and people use that opportunity to take a break and relax for a second and then seek employment that's actually fulfilling to them. And they don't just take jobs that treat you like shit. And then they can be the best version of themselves when they can take those jobs. And the last is history. And we can go through and look at the Trump administration, basically checking the boxes of chronological events that led up to Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, and watch those things happen in front of our very eyes, and watch ICE basically turn into Trump's Gestapo and become the group in America with the largest funding, higher than the FBI and the CIA. We can watch people get detained off the street and forego their constitutional rights to due process. The alarm bells start ringing. They start going off and saying, fascism is here. It is on our doorstep. And it's not alarmist or crazy radical extremist to say that. That's just what history shows us has happened and is happening now. I've said this in a lot of other videos, but this is why conservatives need you to think that academia is biased or college is a scam. Don't go to college. It's a waste of your time and money. I do think college is too expensive. So yes, college can't be a scam if it's free. Good idea, Charlie Kirk. But we want you to not go to college because you're going to learn these things. You're going to demand more of our politicians, which is going to lead to you demanding change. And that is the opposite of what conservatives want.